You almost wish there was a lot more thought put into it before it even started.
We're still the ones dealing with all the health problems and all the asbestos in the air and everything else, right?
We can totally destroy and eliminate the asbestos.
It's like everything here for any young people is gradually disappearing. Our outdoor swimming pool closed this year. We're headed to what used to be the Baie Verte Advocate mines, asbestos mine. One of only probably 3 or 4 in Canada, I guess. Hasn't much changed in this town since I was a kid, other than the road getting worse. A lot of happy times because, like I said, the town was booming. Most families, all their parents were working there, and just happy times going to school, and everybody enjoying their family. That was my old high school right here, actually. But the only thing is a lot of people wasn't educated on this asbestos mine. All people seen was money, really, which is normal for any place that has a mine. But a lot of mines don't leave the hazardous material that was left behind after an asbestos mine was developed. And that's the sad part of it all.
Much of the mineral occurs naturally, but a good portion of Baie Verte's asbestos comes from a nearby asbestos mine.
The Baie Verte Advocate mine, in its heyday, was one of the largest in Canada. But like many industries, this one developed problems. It closed for good in 1995, after 30 years in operation. The buildings now are gone, but the mine remains.
Mixed in with ordinary dirt, stuck onto the sides of cars, even in the town's water supply, there's a high level of asbestos.
In here in the bay, and the easterly wind come in, strong winds, we find the dust out in the town here. So that's one of our bigger problems.
Well, you're looking at many years of blasting and asbestos removal from the core areas where they wanted to get their ore, and then it got shipped way down over that far hill, and the tailings is the result of what's left over after the asbestos ore was removed. One of the things I used to like coming down there for, well, like I said, you went back to where the entrance to the mine is. They had a car wash down there, so as a kid, my dad taking me down there and we'd just come down to go through the car wash, which all the mine employees were supposed to use before they left to come home. But now a lot of the workers would never go through this car wash, so they take all that dust that's been sitting on their vehicle for the whole day and bring it home with them, right? But as a kid, we never saw it as nothing but a good day to hang out with your dad and enjoy a little bit of fun time. A lot of families had tough times there too after the mines closed and all the layoffs, and after someone works at something for so long, for 20 years or more, they're like, what else am I going to do for the rest of my life? Some people were lucky enough to pick up everything and move away and start over again, but not everybody was so lucky.
There was dust everywhere, and nearby the mine was quite definite evidence of asbestos fibers in the trees and in the general surrounding countryside.
In all the years that's been left there, they haven't done anything with it. So every time it gets a warm day and it gets sunny and hot and the wind starts blowing, we've got asbestos exposed again and just airborne all the time here. Right? When they actually went and shut down the mine, besides people losing jobs and stuff like that, major issue became that everyone else benefited from it, like provincial government taxes, federal government taxes. But after all of that just fell away, that here we are, a smaller town, and we're unable to deal with it, and it's just been left ever since it's been shut down, and we're still the ones dealing with all the health problems and all the asbestos in the air and everything else, right? There's obviously the concern of the health and everything else that people have had issues with over years, and the high rates of cancer here, and they just want to see someone that seems to be interested in fixing the problem.
In 2008, researchers began investigating the number of miners who'd fallen ill as a result of that toxic dust. At least 45 former employees have won compensation. Over 100 have developed cancer or asbestos-related disease. Michael Breen's father believes he should be counted among them.
We're at what used to be the loading area for all the ships to come in and get the fiber from the asbestos mine here in Baie Verte. And right behind us is the remnants of the tailings that the mines just piled up there over 30 years. It's a pretty ominous sight, really. To have mountains of green trees, and then you come around the corner and see a big mountain of grey. It's sort of a bit dismal, yeah. My dad said he used to work in the plant, and sometimes the light shines through the window and all you see was big clouds of dust, so it's hazardous.
It's inhaled, the fibers being relatively insoluble tend to stay pretty well the lifetime of the individual, and you get the development of something like chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and obstructive lung disease is really the prime condition of asbestosis.
The town's air quality was tested in 2011. The results found airborne asbestos fibers within acceptable limits, but not all residents are convinced they're safe.
It's often very difficult to prove epidemiologically that exposures to these kinds of environmental toxicants, even though they're known toxicants, is responsible for this many cancers or anything else, even environmental problems directly related to waste sites. So instead, they're left with this sense of unease, maybe even dread associated with their local environment. So it breeds a bit of a sense of alienation from the local landscape.
I'm more concerned about why this happened to the town. You know, while the mines was in operation and there wasn't really anything done about it then to keep the townspeople safe. It was just more or less go to work, come home, go to work, come home. We still had all that dust settling on houses and people and clothing, and always seems to be brought up every couple of years, and then it just dwindles away and people more or less just give up on it, and probably just figuring no one's going to do nothing about it anyway.
Questions of compensation and questions of historical redress are also important aspects of creating some kind of, if you will, closure for people sort of psychologically or emotionally, but also closure in the sense of ensuring that the site is more or less put to bed as much as possible.
The solid waste left behind from mining is known as asbestos tailings. The province has no plans to remove it or to fill in the mine. But one company is pitching a plan. It's met with government officials to discuss extracting minerals from the tailings and remove the asbestos. The founder thinks it can be done safely and turn a profit.
Our technology basically decontaminates, destroys and eliminates asbestos fibers. Asbestos is not a mineral, it's a structure. So what the technology does is destroy the structure of asbestos, and basically it neutralizes it.
But the province says the company still has to prove that technology and hasn't committed to any proposals. So the mine stays.
I'm sure it's a hard task to try to figure out how to get rid of it, but if someone comes here and only wants to take care of it because they're going to make more money off it, well, that's not caring about people too much.
Meanwhile, Michael Breen's father continues his fight with cancer. He was originally among the miners compensated, but an appeals court overturned that ruling, saying it's not certain the asbestos is to blame for his sickness.
He overturned it, saying there wasn't enough evidence to support that his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was caused by asbestos, right? And then my mom pretty much gave up on it all, and they wasn't going to fight no more, so he's been dealing with cancer for 28 years now, or more. But our parents were in this just to make $1 and put food on the table like everybody else, I guess, but you almost wish there was a lot more thought put into it before it even started, rather than just money, right? I wish it never existed.